What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I'm Sean Woodland, joined by Tommy Marquez. Tommy, how are you?
I am good. Week 1, baby. Want to know.
It's still victory week for you. And
Victory
featuring
week.
Lauren Khalil. Lauren, how are you?
I am fantastic.
Awesome. Good to see you. Glad you made it back safely from the tactical games thing in Salt Lake. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. Got a couple other things that we're going to cover as well. The road qualifier and some Wodapalooza stuff in SoCal, Wodapalooza SoCal news that's coming out. But first, we want to thank our sponsor for today, and that is Box Basics, your ultimate online store for cross-training shoes. Right now, you can get a sweet discount of 20% off everything. Just head over to shopboxbasics.com. Use the code TEF. They have a killer section of shoes like Nike, TYR, Strike Movement, Reebok, and more. Plus, they offer fast and free, yes, free shipping across the U.S. and super easy returns and exchanges. Their customer service is absolutely incredible. And honestly, like, this is where, if you guys want to deal with a really good company that has a level of customer service that is above and beyond, I think, what you have come to expect in this space, they're fantastic.
Look, and we all get tired of the automated customer service systems and not actually getting to talk to a real human. You're not going to have to worry about that with Box Basics. You get to talk to a human. You get to deal with a human. They will take great care of you. Their customer service is second to none. And you have the full array of all the different brands at your disposal: Nike, TYR, Strike Movement, Reebok, across the board. And they do specialized releases. We were able to get through Box Basics, get those the Nike Metcon 1 releases, as well as the games pack from Tier 2. So some really cool options, kind of the full array of brands at your fingertips in one-stop shopping.
I wore my TYR high tops, those like silverish ones the other night. I love those things.
I'm not a high top guy. You didn't send us a picture?
No, I wore them. They're fantastic. So,
hashtag YOLO swag over here with Sean.
They were fantastic. I'm a big fan of those, and they're going to go well with my LA Kings swag when the hockey season starts.
Yeah, so, the silver.
Head to shopboxbasics.com. Use the code TEF, 20% off, because that sale ends soon. So you're going to want to head over there as soon as possible. Hey, and also, look, the holidays are right around the corner. It's never too early to get that shopping out of the way. So Box Basics can help you do that. Shopboxbasics.com. The code is TEF. Okay, let's get into some of our headlines, things we want to talk about. And as I mentioned, Lauren was in Salt Lake City for the tactical games. And one Jason Khalipa, the 2008 fittest man on earth, was in attendance. And how'd he do, first of all?
You know, he was about middle of the pack. He finished 14th out of 23 in the men's. Okay. I spoke with Spencer Panchik because he was also competing in the division, and him and I were goofing around, and I was like, Spencer, your one goal this weekend needs to be to beat Jason Khalipa. He wasn't able to do it. Spencer finished 16th, but Jason had a lot of fun out there. It's a new style of training that he's been working on for a bit. But when it came to the long range shooting and just some of the other styles of shooting, I think he had a nice slice of humble pie. But it seems like he'll be back. So I'm glad that he was able to experience it. And overall, just seeing the growth of CrossFitters that are entering the space. You have Jimmy Woodard, who the weekend before competed in the Masters Division games. You had Cody Anderson, who is an OG CrossFitter from back in the day. Spencer Panchik, Jacob Hepner. He wasn't there this weekend, but just a lot more CrossFitters that are tipping their toe or maybe a whole foot into the tactical games.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I know my wife is super interested in starting. So yeah, she's going to, I think, start training from maybe doing some partner competitions or individual competitions, but it's so cool that's grown the way it has. And I obviously the shooting is a thing where, that's kind of a higher barrier of entry, but when it comes to just testing your fitness, like, it's not like you need to have all the technical skills in your tool belt, like handstand walking or being able to squat snatch or, bring muscle ups. It's just grunt work. And I'm not trying to minimize like what they're doing, but it is very like binary in how they apply it. It's like you either did it or you didn't. Did you put that thing over the bar? Yes, good rep. It's not like some of the more intricate things that you see in CrossFit.
Yeah, and even one of the skills where they have rope climbs, if you can't, so say that I'm in the elite division and I can't do rope climbs. I can sub out 5 hand release burpees like over the rig for every like one rope climb that I don't compete or that I don't complete. So it is cool how they like if you don't have a specific skill, it doesn't necessarily mean you would need to change divisions. I mean, there's always like the weight on the axle bars or the sandbags that would more or less be the limiter, but it's never like a skill component.
Interesting. So it's like it ultimately they still make sure that it comes down to shooting, right? Like fitness related, they give you options to still be able to actually make it to the point where you're shooting. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. I would say when you look at like who fares better in competitions, is it somebody who's really fit or somebody that's really good at shooting? I would say it kind of goes back and forth because you have Jacob Hepner, who is arguably the most fit person in tactical games, and he's been the national champion for a couple of years now. But then you also had this guy, his name is Kurt Fennell, who I would say is like an above average fitness dude who beat him earlier this season.
Oh.
So they do really try to find a balance of like being really good with your firearms and not just at one thing. Like they have long range, short range, there's moving and shooting, there's rifle, pistol, sometimes only rifle, sometimes only pistol. They really interchange it in so many different ways that complement really well with that grunt work style of fitness.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's cool. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing it grow. And I know you'll probably be out at the next where's the next competition you're going to?
The next one that I'll be doing for them won't be until nationals. It's the weekend after Rogue.
Okay.
It'll be at the Staccato Ranch in Texas. That's
Awesome.
kind of their HQ home base. Yeah, amazing facility if anybody lives in that area.
Yeah. Oh, I also want to mention, because that's a great segue, but coming up in a little bit too, we're going to hear from our good friend Joel Gadet, who called the action at the Teenage CrossFit Games. So he's going to give us a recap of that. That's coming up a little bit later. But you mentioned right after Rogue. So let's get to Rogue because the Q, the qualifier for the Invitational, is now done. The leaderboard is, I don't know if it's final, but it is displayed. So we'll start with the men. Now, in the past, Rogue has traditionally taken the top 5 men and top 5 women from the Q to compete at the Invitational. So right now, the top 5 men, Georges Carivas, Tudor Magda, Cole Griesaber, Jorge Fernandez, and Traven Benton. So those are your top 5 men right now. That I don't know if the review is finished and the leaderboard is locked, but that's who currently occupies what would traditionally be the qualifying spots. And on the women's side, Manon Enganez, Jamie Simmons, Sydney Wells, Emma Tall, and Taylor Williamson. How about that? Yeah.
And like I'd have to look to see if like adjustments were being made, because in the past 2 years, remember, like once judging was done, there was like a significant amount of adjustments being made, and the leaderboard did shift. But Manon, Jamie, Sydney, Emma on the individual side, no stranger to this level of competition. Taylor as an individual, this is would be a really cool opportunity. And behind them, Dana Paran and Taylor Howe, both 2 athletes that are within, striking distance, assuming, adjustments, or could also do some damage too. That this opportunity at Rogue, I think, presents a really cool scenario for them. For Taylor, she's in the UK, right? So it's just a hop, skip, and a jump for her. But how many opportunities do you get at this level where you're guaranteed a payout of, right now it's looking about $5.5 grand, maybe even more, because remember, that's going to fluctuate with ticket sales, with registrations, things like that. So a guaranteed payday, that's you get, I believe Rogue covers travel too. So you get this full suite experience, and it's going to be against the best it's going to be against the best in the world. I mean, there's realistically, there's 2 opportunities like that a year. One of them is Rogue, and one of them is the games, where you're guaranteed to have that top level individual talent.
And when you look at the leaderboard, some of the names that you don't see on the first page, for the men specifically, you have Colton Mertens, who was in 25th, Alex Vigneault in 30th. There was somebody else that I wanted to point out, and Willie George in 27th. So when you look at the programming and the way that it's always structured, you cannot have a bad event. You need to be almost perfect in order to earn one of those 5 tickets. And for the women, there's a handful of women who were at the CrossFit Games this past year, Sahar Kaya, Hattie Canyo, who also were not in the top 20. So kudos to the men and women who did qualify.
I wouldn't be surprised if Colton's still recovering, if he was doing this alongside, because he was competing this weekend at NorCal, which he won. So congrats to him. But yeah, we're at this kind of intersection where a lot of events are either, if you're competing in the off season or doing these mid to just below the top tier events. And there's also qualifiers going on, and so it's not uncommon for athletes to be like, all right, I'm competing this weekend, but I got to get these like 3 to 4 qualifiers in. So you see these these fluctuations in performance depending on where that crossroads lands on their schedule.
Yeah, but we'll certainly be keeping an eye on that, because I don't think this is final. I don't think the leaderboard's locked. There's probably reviews still going on. But yeah, Rogue Invitational in November, and cannot wait. I think it's going to be a freaking awesome event.
I'm so jealous. Oh,
yeah.
Like I said, I think this is going to be more of a strongman event, just based on, and strong woman, based on where it is. The strongman, strong woman, that's huge over in Europe, and then especially in Scotland, which is like the birthplace of a lot of this stuff. Like, we'll have to have Dr. Bill Crawford on sometime to give us a history lesson, and we'll just say, Dr. Bill, history, Scotland, and then we'll just turn our mics off and he'll talk for an hour. It'll be great, because that guy's just a walking encyclopedia. But it's going to be so cool, and I think it's because in the past, at least over here in the United States, when we've had the Rogue Invitational, strongman does seem to takes a little bit of a backseat, and that could be just possibly it was a late addition to the Invitational, because it started with CrossFit in its first couple of years, and then they decided to add strongman. But the field there is going to be probably other than the Arnold, I don't know where else you're going to see that collection of strongman talent in the same spot. So really looking forward to that. Also looking forward to next week, you have the Adaptive CrossFit Games going on. CrossFit just put out a post on Instagram about viewing options for that. And then you also have TYR Wodapalooza SoCal. And TYR Wodapalooza SoCal has now released some of their events. And we won't go through all of these, but I'll just if you're watching this, I'll just put it up on the screen so you can just see what we're talking about. But you have, they're going to have, for those of you who don't know yet, or you may have forgotten, there's going to be 2 teams of 8, but not all 8 athletes will be taking part in every event. There's going to be, games teams of 2 and 2, Miami teams of 3 and 3. There will be head-to-head matchups. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I think Friday night, you got the 1 rep max snatch and the 1 rep max clean and jerk. That's going to be cool. That's going to be a spotlight event. That's going to be fun. There's 3 events on Friday that have been announced. Let's see. Saturday, there's 4 events, but only 3 of them have been announced. And then Sunday, there are also 4 events, and only 2 of them have been officially announced. This one, the event 7 on Saturday, is going to be fun. It's going to be, it's like head-to-head matchups where it's, you do 21 bar muscle ups and then you do a clean ladder. The 2 women go head-to-head, and then so it's all these individual races, and the team that wins the most wins the whole thing. Now
that's sick.
That's going to be fun. And
if anyone is unfamiliar with this format, the 2015 Games team finale, where Rich Froning and Mayhem hit very memorably, just came from behind, almost pulled this win out of pulled the rabbit out of a hat almost a little bit. Ahead of teams like Milford and these other teams that looked like they were gonna have a chance to win, and Mayhem just dropped the hammer in that last event. It was individual relays where all 6 team members had to run their own relay, and they were all scored at 50 points each. And you kind of had to figure out where you wanted to put these people and who you were going to put them up in the lineup. And this is awesome. I love that format. That one's going to be fun.
Well, the only thing I hope doesn't happen is that one team doesn't win the first 4 and then it doesn't matter after that. I hope there's a little back and forth here. But, and that, that kind of is, for those of you don't know, the way the scoring is going to work for this is that the winner of an event gets 1 point. The other team doesn't get any. So you could, there is a scenario in which you could get to Saturday night and it could be out of reach. I hope that's not the case. And there are, I think, some things that might be done in order to make it still interesting and beyond that, or whether it's individual, like incentives for individual events. So if you win this, your team gets something to help keep it interesting. But I hope that's not the case. And for those of you who think it might be the case, think all the way back to 2013 and the Invitational in Berlin, where it was, there was one team on paper that was much better than the other, and the team that was better on paper did not end up winning.
So if we go way back to, was it Berlin? I'm correct.
Yep.
Team USA had the top 3 finishers on the men's division. They had Rich Froning, Jason Kalipa, and Ben Smith. On the women's side, they had 2 of the top 3 women. They had Lindsay Valenzuela, Jesus.
Val Vobrel.
Val Vobrel. We were just talking about it last week.
And Becca Voigt?
I believe Becca Voigt Miller. Let me double check that one. But I'll give you guys bonus points or something if you can guess who Team World was. No looking like.
Okay, it was McKay,
Chad McKay, Frederick Agidius.
Oh man,
this is a tough one.
Yeah, it was. I want to say Miko Aronpa.
Nope, that was the year prior. Miko Aronpa was the year prior, 2012.
And then it was Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet.
Yep.
Sam Briggs.
Yeah.
And oh man.
Talena Fortunato was the third one.
That's right. Okay, it was Talena.
Was it her? Picelli? No, it might have been Talena.
I can't remember who was the guy for the Europe team.
Albert Dominic Lou.
Oh, that's it. That's right. Yes, I knew it was okay. And then who's the third woman?
And Cara Cara Saunders, the artist formerly known as Cara Gordon. But yeah, and remember, it came down to that last event with the axle bar overhead walking lunges, and they had to do it in succession. Yep. And it was like, oh my gosh, I remember it being this massive upset. And I wasn't there. I think you were calling it.
I was calling it with Cherie Chan.
Yeah, and we're all watching it from back at HQ in Santa Cruz. Like, we couldn't believe what we were seeing. Like, this just
right.
It was the USA hockey team beating. It was it wasn't the Miracle on Ice.
It was big. It was, and that was the last time I think we did the teams of 6 invitational.
Yeah,
because the following year we did it in San Jose, and it was down to teams of 4, and they had 4 teams. Mm-hmm. Which honestly, I think to avoid this sort of it's over by Sunday type thing, and I'm not saying that's going to happen, but just to minimize that happening, if this format works, which I think it will, like I'm really excited about watching this. If you can find a way to make it 4 teams, adjust the scoring a little bit to where it's like 3 points for first, 2 for second, something like that. Now you still obviously would have a scenario where someone could have it clinched, but there would still be spots behind them that might be up for grabs. I think that could be a lot of fun. Like an invitational style with like 4 teams. Like that's what this reminds me of. Like this first thing with TYR Wodapalooza SoCal. This is like the first invitational. Like, let's try this out, see if it'll work. And if it does, which I think it will, let's expand this and get 4 teams in here. And I really think like the sky's the limit with this. I'm super excited. I think this might be, I think TYR Wodapalooza SoCal has the potential to be one of the most important events of the year, not based on like the size or what it, or the talent that's going to be there, but because of the impact it can have moving forward in other competitions, specifically the CrossFit Games teams competition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, its place in the calendar is important too. Like, also just bringing, and I would want to temper expectations for year 1, but this has the structure to potentially be something that's very, very cool going forward, right? If they're able to continually secure this venue on Huntington Beach, it becomes like a vacations end of summer type, event for a lot of people. You get these all-star rosters in this unique team format. And I remember, like, was it Strength and Depth Origins or Strength and Depth had a variation where they had teams of 7 that they've done this before. And I think that might have been partial inspiration for this format. And all the athletes came back like, this was awesome. And so I think if you do that, you're able to replicate that quality of a competition here on U.S. soil on Huntington Beach, in a place that like a lot of people want to go, where there's great weather at this time of year. Could be super cool.
Yeah, I think the setting's gonna be fantastic. It is like right there on the beach. It's gonna be. I mean, you can go to their Instagram page and look at the stuff, but it's gonna be freaking phenomenal. Like I said, I think this event, and I'm glad you brought up Fit Fest, because I know, Lauren, you were there and you talked about how much the athletes enjoyed it. It feels like there's a shift that could be happening here with how we conduct team competitions, and I think that this is the right way to do it in my book. It just makes it so much more interesting and fun and strategy and pitting head-to-head matchups. And it's like, I think it could really help reinvigorate the team competition, because now that you have, like all the, like Rich has made his exodus, you don't have that draw anymore.
Yeah.
And separated from the games, like from the individual games, and now you could have like this kind of event where you have these super teams competing against each other, and I think that's a lot more compelling.
Yeah, and I think in general you can there's a little bit more leeway to think outside the box with the team competition.
Yes.
Like even go back to 2020, right before it got canceled, we were going to have that like team event draft version of the CrossFit game.
Yes.
That Mayhem was trying to help like take the lead on. That I thought they did a great job in like raising their hand and trying to like that. I wish that would have taken place.
That would have been sweet. And you could even incorporate that into this, right? Like, like all this stuff there's so many good ideas out there. And that's another good one to bring up too, because they've kind of been seeding that. So yeah, TYR Wodapalooza.
And it's good for the athletes. It gives them an opportunity to get in person and compete where they're not going to wreck their body, more earning opportunities, more sponsorship activations, more opportunities to meet with fans. Like, it's good for the ecosystem to do more of this.
Well, and here's the other thing too. Like, this is really made for TV. If you had, even with 4 teams, it's just a made for TV event. You don't have 4 heats of 30 or 3 heats of 30 teams. It's just where it's just over and over and over again. It's maybe 2 heats at the most, because you might have a team of 3 men and then you do the team of 3 women and then you're done. And that's it. Like, it's quick. It's definitely a made for TV event throughout the weekend. You don't have to spend 8 hours watching the whole competition. It's encapsulated in a 2-hour window. It's great. So
what do we think of the captains? We got DB and Pat Vellner, and then we have BK and Tia.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, they're going to be part of the decision-making process, right? They're going to be placing the pieces on the chessboard.
Yeah. I think it's funny because we talked to Danielle Brandon about the Fit Fest thing, and she's like, we were just making up as we go along. I wonder how, like, what she learned in that competition and how that's going to help out with this one.
Yeah.
Tia and BK, that's going to be.
There's also, because there's also a captain's specific like workout. So you're going to have a Tia and BK versus Pat and Danielle. And
who's your money on?
I don't know.
I have to recuse myself from that because I may know what that event's going to be.
That's the thing. It like there are ones where I can see it going either way.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
That's going to be a good battle. If the final event, because full disclosure, I got read in on some stuff, but I think it's my hope is that this is like not something where we get to Sunday and it's over. Like, there's still some doubt because it's going to be a lot of fun. So, okay, before we get into our interview with Joel Godet, we want to do our dog of the week. We've kind of been, with everything going on, we haven't had a chance to keep up on this, but we're this time. And our dog of the week is BB. He's a 7-year-old male who's super resilient, loving, gentle, cat and dog friendly. So this is like an idea. I mean, look at that tongue just hanging out there. If you're looking.
He's a cutie.
Yeah, he's a gentle 7-year-old guy who's looking for a relaxing home to celebrate his golden years. He is located in the Steel City, Pittsburgh.
Ooh, Pittsburgh.
And is staying with the lovely people at Harp Saves Lives, at Harp Saves Lives. So you can look them up until he finds this person. Featuring BB and Harp this week, because we are fortunate enough, Barbells and Bullies is to be hosting a comp on Saturday at Renegade Training. All right. So if you're going to be there this Saturday at Renegade Training, they're going to have Barbells for Bullies is going to be there hosting a competition. So check it out. It's a great way to, I think their barrier of entry is pretty low. It's like usually you just have to bring like a bag of dog food or some canned dog food or something for dogs that they can donate to their local shelter, and you're in the competition. But double check me on that. But that's usually how that works. But yeah, he's look at that guy.
Oh, what a cutie.
I mean,
so if you're, go ahead.
Just think about that, right? Imagine yourself, if you're in Pittsburgh thinking, maybe I want a pup. you, BB, sitting on the couch. It's a Sunday. The Steelers are playing.
Yep. Give me a
It's an
terrible
AFC
towel.
North classic battle. You got a Permanente Brothers sandwich right there on your lap. And I mean, that's just an excellent Sunday right there.
Yeah. So again, if you guys are interested, we all three of us shared this on our social media. You can go to @Barbells for Bullies to see more about BB. And if you're interested in adopting him, it's @Harp, HARP, Saves Lives. That's them on Instagram. And then you can also hit up Barbells for Bullies. So even though we're out of the dog days of summer, we're in fall. I guess we're actually technically not in fall. We're still, I think, in summer. Fall has
I'm not gonna lie. The mornings have been kind of crisp.
I feel like fall has kind of been like
crisp.
Fall has kind of been like, how you doing?
Yeah. Hey,
over here. Gonna see you soon.
Forget about me.
Yeah.
When are we gonna have our show?
Oh God. Okay. So
Sean and I
we
are
had this whole
enemies.
debate. Well, we had this whole debate about pumpkin spice and how early is too early with pumpkin spice. And I'm a staunch, it's got to be October. You got to be officially in the fall. Leaves have got to be changing colors. Temperatures had to have taken a noticeable drop because right now, at least where we are, Tommy, it was like 90 degrees the other day. I don't want a pumpkin spice latte on a 90-degree day. I want it when it's October. It's cold. I'm hoodieing up. So I think like where they're rolling it out now is way too early. I think it's more
unless you live where I am.
Yeah, but here's the thing: were you getting like a pumpkin foam cold brew on those warm days?
I know, because I just think pumpkin to me is a very cold weather specific type.
I'll give you October. I think that's fair.
I think October at least,
especially because Costco
depends where you live.
Costco right now has Christmas decorations out.
That's wrong.
Okay, they push
insane. It's insane.
I know.
Like
Lauren, you said you think pumpkin is a year-round type of thing, which I am.
Yeah, I love the flavor. I don't want to see it go away. I also like peppermint, but that to me has a shelf life.
I love peppermint bark and peppermint in general, and that's not a year-round flavor.
No, I agree. But pumpkin, I would totally support the decision to install it as like vanilla.
No, it's like the Shamrock Shake at McDonald's. You only bring it out during
exactly.
And I love it year-round too.
There's a reason why the McRib doesn't stay around year-round.
Exactly. You got to have something special. If you do it year-round, it devalues the specialness of the pumpkin spice, like in the fall flavors. And they got there's some other ones out there too, like these apple crisp ones, or they have like some apple.
Yeah, you got me onto
those are good.
The shaken espresso.
And if it's year-round, it just ruins it. But like when you're rolling out pumpkin spice in September and I'm still in shorts sweating my patootie off in 95-degree weather, no. Like I want, you know what? When do we set our clocks? Like when do we fall back?
Good one. Fall back. When's fall back?
I think it's October or something.
It already happened. We already had it.
We haven't. We've sprung forward. We need to fall back. No, now that's when we should do it.
I don't know.
Fallback 2024 is November 3rd.
All right, that's too late.
No, guys, we need to get rid of the time change altogether.
That's another debate.
Yeah.
But I think like a couple weeks before Halloween is when the pumpkin should stuff.
I'm okay with October.
Sean, there's sometimes snow here before that.
Well, that's your fault for living in a desolate hellscape, not, you know. Don't make the rest of us suffer, you know, because you have bad weather. I don't know. I'm an October pumpkin spice guy.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't know.
I think September 1st is fine. The August 22nd, I'll say that's.
We're not even out of summer in September 1st.
Yes, we are. Kids are back to school.
Not officially.
Oh yeah, like not technically based on this calendar.
Yes, based on the calendar. Fall. Give it a couple weeks. Let fall show up. Get comfortable. You know. Let us know it's here.
I got married in September. And here it's considered a summer wedding.
Yeah, it was a summer wedding. It was hot.
Oh.
It was hot.
Yeah.
But you guys had fall colors, didn't you?
A little bit, but it was still very green and like we had some fall colors in it. But yeah.
Speaking of marriage, Tommy, you are going to find out the gender of your child here soon, correct?
2 more days.
All right.
You should put a poll up on IG.
Yeah. Anyone wants to buy raffle tickets on
are your relatives saying anything? Are they like the grandmas and stuff?
This is where I wish my grandma was still alive. Rest her soul. But I wish she could like just pop up, put a hand on my wife's belly, and be like, give
Aw.
us an
Yeah.
estimation. She would know for sure.
That's a fact, because like I said, every Hispanic woman when my wife was pregnant, I think there was 3 of them. They all got it right. All of them
Wait,
said boy.
what does Tiff's grandma, who you were making those special treats in the holidays for?
Oh, her great grandma.
Her great grandma, what does she think?
She's not sure yet because we haven't physically seen her in person recently.
Okay.
We went up and saw her for her 100th birthday, and it was for her 100th birthday. And Tiff was showing a little bit, but she wasn't showing a ton. And she was just kind of like, I'm undecided. So
Okay.
so my brother-in-law knows he's gonna call great grandma the day of our baby shower, and when we find out, and tell her so she's the second person to know ahead of the rest of the family. So.
Nice.
Oh, I love that.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I think I'm going boy. I'm going boy.
All right.
I think girl.
All right. We'll see.
Tommy's a
Oh,
girl dad.
I was divided.
Yeah.
What do you and Tiff feel?
The only inclination I've had was like 3 months ago. I was sitting on the floor, like watching sports, and it was like, I think we're gonna have a girl. And then since then, Tiff has gone back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, who knows?
Well, we've decided that we don't know what Tommy's baby's going to be, but we do know that pumpkin spice should be released in October.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
No,
September 1st.
When should it go away?
Okay, so this is where
December
the debate
1st.
gets
October. or
December?
November?
I'd keep it through Christmas. Keep it through the holidays. Done. January 1.
But then it's conflicting with the peppermint.
No, it's not.
Yeah, this is. I haven't put enough thought
You
into
still have
this.
pumpkin pie for Christmas, right? Come on. For the
Yeah,
holidays?
that's true. Okay, I would give pumpkin spice October, November,
Yeah.
December.
Marquee billing. October halfway to November. Marquee billing of the pumpkin spice.
Yeah, and then
Thanksgiving rolls around. Peppermint. Marquee billing.
Then peppermint comes in as the understudy in middle of November. Takes over December, has January, and then
But then who takes over in February?
That you don't need any special flavor in February.
Football's over. Who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
February doesn't need it.
There's no flavor of February.
There's not.
Nobody likes February.
Well,
gray and gross.
I was born then, and my son was born then. It's like the shortest month ever. We don't need our special flavors. We're good to go. All right.